I was in an interesting position being, 4 hours from New York City. So I was able to go down to New York to cast
bring them
up to Vermont, and created this sanctuary, essentially, where artists get to leave the hustle and bustle of New York, and get to bask in the beauty of Vermont.
Jarvis Antonio Green is a director of theater, an actor. He's even been a musician. And we share something in common. We're both two Black creatives who've spent a good chunk of our lives in Vermont. I was raised in Vermont. This show is made in Vermont, and Jarvis lived there for nearly 15 years after growing up in the South and spending some time developing his craft in New York City. Vermont's known for a lot of things. Nature, maple syrup, Bernie Sanders, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but also its overwhelming whiteness. Vermont is the second whitest state in America, which is why when somewhere around 2016, I started seeing stuff like this pop up in my feed, I started to ask, what in the Shakespearean
I know.
novel? What in the Jane Austen movie is happening?
Yes, that is the brand.
Here?
Black people frolicking in fields. That is exactly what I want people to see when they think of JAG.
It's beautiful.
Jarvis's work in the state, it stood out. He was the founder of JAG Productions, a theater company whose mission was to, quote, serve as an artistic sanctuary for Black creatives in the American theater. The company put on an annual new playwrights festival called JAG Fest, hosted workshops and outdoor theater performances, and offered a musical theater lab, all with Black and queer artists who came up from New York or other parts of the country to make theater together in the Green Mountains. Over the past decade, Jarvis has been a huge part of the artistic revolution in our little state, which is why it devastated so many of us when in June of 2024, after an 8-year run, JAG closed its curtains for good. In an emailed letter, Jarvis said that, much like other theater companies across the country, JAG was a victim of, quote, a model that increasingly proves unsustainable amid shifting societal support and financial pressures. It all seemed very sudden to me. How did JAG get to this point? I remember I reached out for an interview with Jarvis the moment I heard the news, but he wasn't ready to dive into it then. Now, he is. And what I've learned is that at the time his company closed, so much was going on behind the scenes for Jarvis. Yes, a lot of it was financial, but there was more, too. And Jarvis's experience speaks to a reality that a lot of queer creatives of color face, that at any moment, everything can fall apart.
So June in 2024, I closed JAG. July 30th, my dog of 11 years passed. And then September 1st is when my relationship ended.
What happens when the public perception of your work, thriving, vital, and expansive, doesn't totally match the reality of everything going on behind the scenes? What happens when you're just one life shift away from things breaking? And what does it look like to piece it all together again?
It felt, I guess a little bit of my own kind of abandonment issues. I'm like,
why is everybody leaving me?
Why is everyone leaving?
From Vermont Public, this is Homegoings, a show that invites you to eavesdrop on candid conversations with people who will challenge what you think you know. I'm Myra Flynn, and today, a conversation with Jarvis Antonio Green, a triple threat director, actor, and singer who found himself, just last year, losing so much of what he built in his community and his personal life in one fell swoop. Today, I'm talking to him about a different kind of art he's putting his energy into these days, the art of starting over. This is his journey, and this is Homegoings. We're a proud member of the NPR network. Welcome home.
First of all, it's just so great to see you. I feel like I know you, but don't really know you that well. But I feel like I know you because every time I've like witnessed you, whether it's like social media or anything, you're just like, you put me at ease. I feel like you do that with so many people. Like, that's Jarvis. And you've just, you keep track of each other in a state like Vermont when we're Black folks. So
yes,
welcome to Homegoings. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I always knew I wanted to talk with you. Yeah, I guess like I want to start out with like who you are, what you do. What is it that you set out to do in this world?
Wow. Yes. Okay.
Big question.
That is a big question. Yeah. My name is Jarvis. I am from the South, from South Carolina.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Where's your accent?
A lot of theater, a lot of being in white spaces. But yeah, I'm from South Carolina. I grew up in the church.
Southern church boy.
I'm a Southern.
The things you never know.
The things you never know.
Okay.
I am a Southern church boy. I was the, director of the praise dance team. I believe this.
I believe this.
Yeah, no, I was a church soloist. I started singing in the church. Like, I remember so vividly, like my choir director at 10 years old was like, hey, I want you to learn the solo that we're going to sing, the song that we're going to sing next Sunday. And it was His Eyes on the Sparrow. His eyes. Exactly. Are we
doing a duet later?
I know.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And I killed it. Yes. And I think that was like the first time I understood like the power of storytelling, the power of song. And then from there, I started just like singing it in the church. And then a woman who was going to my church, who was my school librarian, told me about this boy choir that was auditioning young boys, and they were going to be traveling all over the world, singing this like classical music. And I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
And she picked me up, took me to this audition, and I nailed it. And then my world kind of shifted in that moment because like he was like, yes, I want you to be a part of this choir. And then I went from this, very Black community. And then things kind of for the first time, I like learned what it meant to like, I don't know, essentially be like not wealthy. Because all of this, the singers and the boy choir members were like from affluent families. And I remember just being like, oh, there's something different about I knew that I was like rich in culture and family and things like that. But like for the first time, I learned that like, oh, we're poor.
Mm-hmm. I remember this lyric, I think it's from Erykah Badu, that says, I remember there in school one day, I learned I was inferior. How did it feel to learn that? Did you feel inferior to these boys?
I felt inferior.
You did?
I did because I think my parents didn't know what to do with that talent and that gift. And so they just allowed me to figure it out kind of on my own.
Right.
So they couldn't necessarily be that support for me because in these spaces, I was still the most talented.
Right. Which is a currency in and of itself.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they weren't necessarily like there for the kind of emotional things that I was navigating in terms of like what it felt being like the little poor kid versus all the kind of white wealthy kids. So I did feel a little inferior at the time. Even starting JAG, like I'm now realizing that since I was 10 years old, up until starting JAG, like I feel like I was like, I strayed away from that like deep familial cultural experience and was like in this like very white artsy community, white friends, et cetera, et cetera. So like starting JAG, and now it's like this big coming home to myself. Yeah.
If I'm understanding you right, you have just admitted something that a lot of Black folks don't talk about, which is that I gravitated toward whiteness because it felt safer.
Yeah.
Right.
I moved to Vermont in 2011.
Which is wild.
I know.
And also, why Vermont?
I started teaching voice lessons to folks in Barnard, Vermont. And there was like this curiosity of like who I was and what I could bring to the table. There's a curiosity about my craft and my work. And in New York, I was working some in the creative world, but it was mostly like hustling to survive,
work to pay the rent.
Exactly. Yep. I was waiting tables, et cetera, et cetera. And so it felt good to live in a community where folks valued you for your creative sensibilities, for
your merit,
yes,
basically.
Yes.
Yeah. What you brought.
What I brought.
Yeah.
That felt really good. I got this idea and I basically mimicked it after a lot of the arts organizations that I grew up in. And then Kathleen Dolan at Artistry Community Arts Center was like, hey, would you be interested in starting a theater program for me? And I was like, sure.
Wow.
I did that for 2 years and realized that like, no, I don't want to be like making and building shows centered around like, white playwrights. I want to do shows that reflect my humanity. And that was my struggle in New York. It was like, lots of colorblind casting, but not really, going into the heart of the matter of like what it means for this Black body to be playing this white character, to appease to DEI was like, okay, cool. Like you can be a Black person in Oklahoma, but like, what does that mean for the person that is in this body portraying this character? Right. Like, folks never went into the depths of that.
Yeah. I mean, like the theater has been notoriously racist in its casting we interviewed Audra McDonald I think last year and I know
really?
She had so much to say about this. Wow. Look at your eyes.
Literally my favorite.
I'll send you the episode. But she was always being cast as like the maid or the slave or something as well, so not even just playing white characters, but the Black ones you got to play, that wasn't good.
Exactly.
But I remember her saying like she wanted to kind of reclaim those roles and take them back and make them bigger presence on stage. So I guess like I'm curious, how would you go about staffing this idea of yours with Black representation in the second whitest state in the union?
Yeah. I think particularly for the artist, I was in an interesting position being, 4 hours from New York City. So I was able to go down to New York to cast,
bring them
up to Vermont, and created this sanctuary essentially where artists get to leave the hustle and bustle of New York,
right,
and get to bask in the beauty of Vermont. White folks here get to, not just white folks, and everybody that lives in the Upper Valley or whatever, get to sort of experience these art. Because like at first I struggled with this idea of like not using local talent,
Right. There's, a lot of pressure on local here as well. So in Vermont. So you chose like to ignore that.
I chose to ignore that. I chose to ignore that. And it's also what I knew, especially if I wanted to be producing and making things like ASAP. So I would go down to New York and cast artist, work with a casting director to cast the shows.
Wow.
Essentially.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and unheard of. Like, you'd have to know Vermont to know, like, how rare this is. And, some people listening be like, oh, there's a Black theater production in my city. This ain't the city.
No, this is Vermont.
It's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah.
Which is why you've been so, I think, on my radar for so many years. All of your photos are just like Black people luxuriating in fields, and I'm like, what in the
literally yes
what in the Shakespearean
I know
novel? What in the Jane Austen movie is happening?
Yes, that is
over
the brand.
Here?
Black people frolicking in fields. That is exactly what I want people to see when they think of JAG.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel good to be yourself, Vermont? Oh, let's all hang out!
How was that funded?
Philanthropy, child, the whole donors, local donors, foundations, grants. And that allowed me for a year and a half to put up really beautiful, kind of mind-blowing for the area work, and folks wanted to invest in it. So that initial gift helped open up opportunities for me, because like people in philanthropy, people that got money, they want to give money to successful things. And when folks would come to the shows, like they wanted to support that and be a part of that.
Was any of the funding as it continued part of like the boom of DEI and some of that funding?
2020. Just cash. Yes.
You get a theater.
Yeah. I think particularly the big boom for me in 2020 was like my partnership with a huge organization in the Upper Valley, which made, the work easier. Like they had a lot of resources and a lot of connections within the community. And that connection helped me to make more connections and really kind of take JAG to this next level. In 2019, we produced a show called East Side's Table that moved to New York that kind of put us on the map. I mean, it was just like this combination of like all the things, really good theater, it being outdoors, food, music, like it was just a really... It was lovely.
Yes.
It was lovely.
Yes.
So all those things combined really made a beautiful experience. And my thing as a producer, as a director, it's like, yes, you're going to get really great theater, but like it's all the elements from the moment you walk into the space that like makes the theater experience great for me. Like the people that you're around, like, the lobby, all of that. Like I like for it to feel like a, immersive almost.
Experience. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, it should feel like church.
It should feel like church.
It should feel like, I mean, it is. Like if you're going to gather people, if you're going to gather 200, 300 people, folks should leave changed.
So I love this image of Black people frolicking in the fields. And I just wonder, like, I don't know, that curation, right? Of just like everything is just like wonderful and beautiful and like going so well. And even hearing you talk, it sounds like I believe you. Like it sounds like it was dope. And oh no. I wonder.
What a struggle at?
I wonder if there's more to the story.
Gosh, behind the scenes, really interesting conversations with funders. Basically, things started to go south. They pulled out.
That's big.
That's big.
Yeah.
We were getting ready for the third season and like kind of got an email that was just like, we can't do this anymore.
That must have gutted you.
Gutted.
Yeah.
Gutted.
And your mind goes to all these places like...
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
And we were coming out of the pandemic and Biden was elected now and, you know,
what a time to lose that money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that was a big shock. And then we lose our outdoor space and then we kind of lose our sort of home indoor space.
Yeah.
And so things got really strange for us. It felt, you know, I guess a little bit of my own kind of abandonment issues. I'm like,
why is everybody leaving me?
Why is everyone leaving? And so backtrack in 2022 or 3, I got the biggest burnout I've ever had. I didn't know what it was. I woke up, we had a fundraiser in the fall of 2022. I woke up one day and I felt like my life force was like gone. Like I would like get up, I would like get dressed and I would have my heart would race. I wouldn't want to leave the house. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And at this point, I had just been going, running this organization. And I remember calling my doctor, and then I meet with a psychiatrist, and they're like, this sounds like depression. And then I had to get on like some SSRIs to kind of calm me down. And I remember talking to a board member and saying like, hey, like I need to take a break. And this board member was like, well, if you like take a break, like there won't be an organization.
Yeah, because you're the identity.
You're the identity.
Your identity is wrapped up in this identity and you are not separate anymore.
Yeah. And at this point, it's probably year 6 or 7. And I'm just like,
which is a long run, by the way. That's kind of amazing for any project.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But like, I was also like, okay, you know, within this organization, we're talking about what it means to co-lead. We're talking about what it means to build community. You are about that life of like centering Black and marginalized voices, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like,
right.
Don't think about this just for me. Think about all of the artists. Like, let's figure out ways to make this thing work, not just because of me.
Right.
Like, there are more voices like mine that like benefit from this work. So I'm like, why am I showing up to the board meetings? Why are all of us here? Like, you know, why do I have a board of like 8 people? Why do I have staff if I can't take a break?
Right. Like, yeah, that math is not mathing.
Yeah. And so I think part of my superpower is that like people do love me and care for me. And I think that the folks that were involved were doing it for me versus the bigger picture.
Right. And that love is very stressful love as well, because it's about loving you, but it's also makes you a bit of a token in a situation where like you are the beloved Black person in the town and like not the work you were presenting.
I was actually kind of shocked that like no one fought harder for it to stay. That's how I knew that it was like, we're just doing it because of Jarvis.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you don't want this for your town?
Right.
You don't want to like have this here as like a permanent sort of thing, you know? And people were showing up and doing the thing because of me, not because of like the cultural impact and like being a very white town and like needing and wanting something like this. Like
the reasons you started it.
The reason I started it. The reason I started it.
It wasn't because of you.
Yeah. Right, and so like I thought that like when when we lost those venues that people would literally like be in the streets, essentially, of just being like, okay, we got to figure out how to turn this around. But everything still kind of fell on my shoulders. And I'm just like, well, I don't need to care. I don't need to carry all of this.
No, you can't.
I cannot.
And your body was telling you.
My body was telling me. I decided to wrap it up in 2024. I remember vividly of like, we were going in circles at a board meeting on like, what was the thing that needed to take us to the next level? And it was like, oh, we need to really amp up our committees, like committee structures. We need to have all of these committees.
You were acting too in your own stuff.
Yeah. And so at that moment I was like, oh no. No, I can't run this board, raise the money, manage the staff. Like, I just can't. I told them that I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I need to be done. And I think a lot of it was tied into my personal life as well.
What was going on with you personally during this time?
Yeah, so like I was in a serious relationship with a person for almost 6 years. Wow. We were engaged. I got engaged about a year ago around this time.
Wow.
Yeah, June 14th was when I was proposed to of 2024.
Happy engagement anniversary. We'll get there. Yeah.
I know.
But was this person there watching you go through all of this?
Yes.
That's an intimate thing, especially the burnout and the depression and all of that. So you got
and
engaged.
it's interesting you're talking about like the white. When you were mentioning about like me having access to whiteness and white people and like feeling like I'm safe and stuff there, and like part of this closing JAG was like I had this safety in this like white partner because they very well off. And they were going to finish their PhD program, and we were going to go out into the world, get married, have children, and go to move, essentially. So I was like, knowing that and knowing the pressures of my job, I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is a good time.
Right. You're like, I can afford to end this.
Yes.
This production I've worked like my whole life on, basically.
Yes.
Right. Because you had that safety net.
Yes.
Oh, the white safety net.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
We both did proposals to each other.
I saw that. It was so nerdy and so cute.
Thank you.
I was like, you guys both did. I was like, I got engaged. Here's my ring. And then like a week or a day later, I don't know. Like,
there was another one.
There was another proposal.
I was
like, you already engaged.
Yeah.
It happened once.
Yeah.
But it was really sweet.
Yeah. So in August, we're now engaged. The world knows. I closed JAG. We're starting to plan a wedding.
Yeah.
We go to Ireland
Whoa.
for a trip.
Just like an engagement trip.
Yes. So we're in Ireland. It's like day 10. I'm a little exhausted. There are children. They're like, we're waking up every day.
There are children. I have a child. That's hilarious. There are children.
There are children there. I love kids.
Yes, but children be children.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all in one Airbnb. And day 10, I'm like, I need a breath. Like this is a lot for me. And I remember saying that like, I'm going to meet y'all in Dublin. That was the next stop. I'm going to meet y'all in Dublin. I'm going to get a hotel for the night and meet you in Dublin. And then I'll meet up at the Airbnb, which is like a block away. I made sure to get something close. So I meet them in Dublin, my fiance at the time. We stay in the hotel the night. They get up the next morning, go on a walk, come back, lie in bed, and I'm like, something's up. Like, what's going on? And they were like, I don't think this is going to work anymore. And so I like get up, like I sit up in bed, and I immediately go into like, okay, I know this is a lot. We're planning a wedding. This trip is a lot. Let's continue our trip. We were going to leave the family at the end of the trip, go to London and Paris. We had tickets, we had hotels, we had show tickets. Let's go to London and let's go to Paris and let's talk about this. Even if you feel this way, like, let's get away.
But your immediate question wasn't why. It was like, let's just keep it going, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I think we got to sort of that's a really great question, because I think part of what was difficult was like me trying to figure out what the why was, and the why didn't come until later. The why did not come until later. So they get up, pack their things, and go to their parents' Airbnb. I am like sitting in my hotel, like just kind of in shock. And then I realized they have my passport. And I called them like, hey, can you bring me my passport? I already did. It's at the front desk.
Stop.
Yeah. And again, did not see any of this coming. I already did. It's at the front desk. And then I called back. I was like, hey, so they called me and was like, are you going to London? And I was like, well, that trip was for the two of us.
Right. Are we going to London?
Like, are we going? No, I'm not going. Well, I'm like, well, I'll come back home. I'll take the return flight from Dublin back to the US. They were like, I've already changed my flight. I'm getting on the 10 o'clock flight with my family.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So stark.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I go to London and Paris.
By yourself?
By myself. I'm in London. I have a friend that lives in Paris, an ex actually, and I saw him and he showed me around Paris and was like very supportive. I come back. I am bopping around in Airbnbs in Vermont while I'm trying to like no one talks about what it's like to like deal with grief and also have to deep hurt and also have to be organizing your way forward and out. Like I was like dealing with all of this. And I'm like, oh, I have to figure out where I'm going to live.
Right.
We had a home together.
And you still don't have an answer as to what is happening?
Well, and yes, it must
be maddening.
I know it was maddening, but it was like things that we talked about in our relationship of like, you can be a little analytical. You can be a little critical at times. And yes, I do have that nature. I make theater. I wish you can be a little bit more supportive. And so like, I was like, well, did any of this change since you proposed?
Right.
No. But I think things just got to a fever pitch
with the proposal and the wedding planning.
The wedding and feelings, and a lot of it was internalized. And I know one of my I don't know, like it's problems or whatever is that like I can have a really good argument.
Oh. It's bad.
It's bad.
I know.
It's bad. It's bad. And so then they would not want to address things.
Engage with
because I could take it to the moon and back.
Also theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of things they would not disclose. And so they had to sit with a lot of that until it was just too much.
You sound so understanding of their purview and perspective right now. Were you pissed?
I was fucking furious.
Yeah. So I'm just recognizing, like, you've had 2 major heartbreaks happen around. How distant were they from one another? JAG closed in 2024.
June of 2024, September 1st is when. So June in 2024, I closed JAG, and then September 1st is when my relationship ended.
I really, really want to cry. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it is a lot.
It's a lot, and you were. It sounds like already kind of fragile and like fraying at the seams in this point. So I got to ask, like, how was your mental health going after the personal breakup? Did it get worse?
It got worse.
It did.
It got worse. And I'll be completely honest, like, I just came through a really kind of dark time. Like, in this breakup, I gained weight, started taking Ozempic.
No.
Had crazy side effects.
Wow.
Got vertigo. And it was, it was awful. And so, like, all these things are just kind of coming up, like, in the breakup, like, oh, yeah, no, I have to deal with a little bit of my own internalized fat phobia. And just, like, what it means to, like, heal in isolation. Yet, like, people are around me for sure. But this is, like, this work I have to do, like,
on your own.
On my own.
Can nobody do it
but
you?
One can do it.
So how did you start the work?
I started the work by becoming sober.
Good place to start, I've heard.
Yeah.
Did it change a lot for you?
It changed a lot for me. Yeah, I was numbing. I didn't have, like, a huge drinking problem, but when I did drink, I would go to the ends of the world. And, I am just learning how to deal with my own, like, emotions. I have to learn what it means to deal with the racing thoughts. I have to learn to deal with, so much that comes up by having this, like, time and space right now to not be distracted. Right. And a lot comes up. Fear. There's been a lot of fear that I've had to excavate out of me. Like, no one's around to save me. No saviors around. I can't lean on to a partner to make me feel whole, to make me feel safe. Okay, like, I have to cultivate those things on my own. I have a really deep meditation practice.
Right.
Right now, lots of breath work.
And you moved.
I moved.
And you moved out of the country.
I moved out of the country.
Because then all of a sudden, listen, not that I'm, like, a crazy Instagram stalker of you, but that's where I see all your life happening.
Yeah, I moved.
And I was like, you're in Montreal?
I'm in Montreal.
Why Montreal?
Okay, so why Montreal is that it's far away enough, but I also have a friend that lives there, Natalie Batcherville, who was on my board when I first started JAG. She was doing a postdoctorate at Dartmouth, Black, Haitian woman, feminist theory, a ceramicist, amazing person. So I wanted to be around someone that could, like, give me a warm hug and, like, put me in, like, intentional communities. She was the main reason, to be honest.
Okay.
She was the main reason.
And so what are you doing in Montreal? Like
I am, like, I'm writing a book.
Which is wild. Do you just try on anything that looks like art? You just, like,
yes.
I've heard music, theater, directing, production.
I've never written a book. I won a $250,000 grant.
How are you getting? I need to hang out with you more. You seem to just have luck with that. That's amazing.
To write this book. Now, who gets funding to write a book before a book is written?
You.
Me.
You do.
Me.
That's beautiful.
So I'm writing this book about my experience here, my methodology, how I develop new plays, how I center wellness and movement around my theater practices, how food is so integral to the way I make and create. One of my chapters is about the not-for-profit industrial complex and all the systems that are in place and how they are not the greatest systems for the work that I was doing. They were created for something very specific back in the day, but like, you know, to be doing transformative theater making from a Black and queer lens, like those systems aren't necessarily really great. So I write about that.
Yeah. You look well.
Thank you.
You sound well and you look well.
Thank you. Girl. Oh!
Because it has been a time. Yes.
Like literally one of the hardest moments of my life. And even on my way here, because I was with my ex, somatic things came up for me again. And I think my body wanted to revert back to that life when there's so much growth that has happened. And so, you know, leaving, I felt like a sense of loss, but I'm like, I also was just like asking the universe for my energy back. I'm like, give me my energy back, because, you know, when you've known someone for so long, and even though we are friends, when you do jump back in, you know, your body wants to, you know, go back to that life. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Kind of, forgiven each other. And
yeah, we have forgiven each other. I've forgiven her. She came out as trans a month after we split up, and she's going through HRT.
Wow.
And all those things. And so
was this happening like as an undercurrent in the breakup at all, or like?
I mean, I think in hindsight, yes, but like, no.
Interesting.
No, I mean, they were always a feminine person, wore dresses sometimes, but, you know, she tells me now that she feels like she's always been a girl. But, you know, we never talked about her transness when we were together.
If you had stayed together, would that have been an issue for you to be with a woman?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, I could be in a relationship with her as she's like transitioned because I know who that person is. But like, if I just met her on the street as a woman, I don't think I would be.
But like, you would be willing to go through that transition with somebody and love them for who they are no matter what.
Correct.
A lot of the people that ended up helping you with JAG and the person who ended up proposing to you, these are the people who broke your heart. And these are white people. And so I just kind of want to like close that loop of the initial trust in the safety of white people in the South. Now that you've been through all this, do you trust white people less?
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 If I can get my brain to understand that more in my actions, you know, and be clear about understanding that for like the people that I engage with moving forward. Yeah, no, I do trust white people less. But I've also created a life and are living in a place where there are a lot of white people.
Right.
Which makes I have to check myself with that, because I still got to engage with the world. I still got to be out in the world, and I can't just be like hiding, not trusting people, and not being out in the world. So it's complicated. It's complicated. I think I'm excited for my, like, what's after Montreal, and being in an area where there's just more Black and brown folk.
That'll feel good.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
As somebody who's been through so much in such a short period of time, who is like sitting in front of me, like keeping life beautiful and positive and productive, and writing a book and making future plans and cuddling with your ex in a way that you forgave them. And I'm like, could you just tell the rest of us your secret sauce? Like, what is this art you have of like moving on, starting over with so much holistic sensibility, you know?
Wow.
It's really cool.
Wow. God.
Okay. I'd like to thank God.
God.
Yes.
Spirit. Spirit. Surrender. Calling out. Asking. Letting, like, my moon is in Virgo. I organize. I plan. And this has been the biggest lesson of, like, girl, let go of that survival shit. Let it go. Like, you are enough. If you don't do another friggin' organizing, like, you are enough. The core of me is just a loving, sweet person. And I try to really lean into that love and into that joy as much as I can, because, like, that's my survival. That is my survival.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you want to continue to be a part of the Homegoings family, stay in touch at homegoings.co and subscribe to the Homegoings podcast wherever you listen. Take good care.